Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev's decision to step down came as a surprise. Medvedev said the president's proposals to amend the country's constitution would significantly change Russia's balance of power. He dutifully made the announcement public.
We, as the government of the Russian Federation, should provide the president of our country with the opportunity to make all necessary decisions to change the Russian political system. In these circumstances, I believe it would be right for the incumbent government of the Russian Federation to resign.
The news came just hours after President Putin's State of the Nation address. In that speech, Putin suggested changing the constitution to grant parliament more powers, in effect weakening the powers of the presidency. Analysts believe Putin could use this shake-up to create a new job for himself when his current presidential term ends in 4 years' time. Under the Russian constitution, presidents can only serve 2 consecutive terms. Some believe Putin may even take on a new role in parliament. Although Medvedev has become increasingly unpopular with the Russian public in recent years, Putin praised his service.
I want to thank you for everything you've done in this phase of our cooperation. I want to express my gratitude about the results of your work, even though we didn't accomplish everything we wanted to. I hope we will succeed soon.
Some people on the streets of Moscow were slightly less forgiving of Medvedev's tenure.
In principle, the only question is why it took such a long time. To be honest, such a government should have been expelled many years ago.
Medvedev's resignation is long overdue. It's the right decision, and Putin is long overdue to control the economy the same way he controls politics.
Putin has reportedly asked Medvedev to move to Russia's National Security Council to work on defense and security affairs. But the president appears to be leaving his own future career options open.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's go to Moscow now, where my colleague Emily Sherwin, she's following this story. Good evening to you, Emily. So help us understand this. We've got the government in Russia today resigning en masse. We've got the president, Mr. Putin, saying he approves. And then we've got Dmitry Medvedev. He's, well, basically out of a job. I mean, who will replace him, and what is the role of the prime minister in Russia?
Well, we've now heard from President Putin that he's proposed Mikhail Mishustin to replace Dmitry Medvedev. As you can tell by my mispronunciation of his name, he's a little-known figure in Russian politics. He so far has headed the Russian Federal Tax Service since 2010. He's known as a kind of efficient bureaucrat. Now, I wouldn't say that that necessarily means that the role of the prime minister is being downgraded. The role of the president in Russia has always been more important. In fact, that is the real sea change after Vladimir Putin's speech today, where he kind of increased the power of the parliament and downgraded the presidential power. But he did emphasize that Russia would remain a presidential republic.
And it's hard for people outside of Russia to imagine Vladimir Putin giving up power voluntarily. I mean, one of his critics says that this move means that he plans to stay in power indefinitely. Is that what is going on here?
Well, in his speech today, the State of the Union of the Nation address, it did seem that Putin isn't planning on going anywhere soon. And in fact, that speech and the reforms, the proposed reforms to the Constitution that he mentioned and explained today, those kind of give Vladimir Putin various potential options for his future. After all, presidents in Russia can only serve 2 consecutive terms. Putin's second consecutive term term is up in 2024. And essentially, since this term began, people have been discussing what could happen next. And today he opened up a potential option of becoming the Speaker of a strengthened parliament. That's one option. He could also become the head of a state council, which is an institution that he wants to now put into the Constitution as well, that's made up of regional governors. He could also become the head of a security council, which could be strengthened and become have some kind of an advisory role in the country. So he's kind of opened up a lot of potential avenues for himself there of potentially creating a new job for himself in 2024.
Emily Sherman with the latest on the political shakeup in Russia tonight. Emily, thank you.